The stars carried a different weight once you realized they were dying. Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the USS Defiance, eyes fixed on the tactical display where 17 star systems burned in crimson. Each scarlet mark represented extinction. Each scarlet mark meant a world stripped of life for the next million years. 800,000 years of endless war had carved this devastation. The longest conflict the galaxy had ever endured still raged between two elder races who had long forgotten its cause. The crystalline Zepyrians and the gaseous Voron Empire had been slaughtering each other since before humanity mastered fire. The emergency broadcast came alive through the ship's comm system as Morrison sipped his morning coffee. The voice belonged to Ambassador Krell of the Galactic Mediation Council, and the words froze the blood in his veins. All vessels in the Outer Rim sectors must evacuate at once. The ancient war has entered critical escalation. Both the Zepyrian Collective and the Voran Empire are preparing to unleash extinction-level weapons. Complete system sterilization is projected within 48 hours. Commander Lisa Hayes turned from her tactical console, pale but resolute. She had studied the endless war for 3 years during advanced tactical training. Captain, if they launch those weapons, we're talking annihilation across 100 light years. That includes 12 human colonies. Morrison lowered his cup. The liquid inside was still warm, yet his fingers felt a sudden chill. How many lives are we talking? 40 million humans, sir, Hayes replied, and nearly 8 billion aliens from younger species who've settled there over centuries. None of them even suspect what's coming. The Defiance was Earth's most advanced deep space exploration craft, dispatched to the Outer Rim to survey new colony prospects and initiate first contacts. It was not designed for war. Its crew were scientists and explorers. Yet sometimes explorers faced moments where fleeing meant abandoning innocence to certain death. Dr. Alex Turner looked up from his exobiology station, his usual cheer gone. Captain, I've studied both species for years. The Zepyrians are crystalline entities that regenerate from nearly any injury. They draw sustenance from mineral energy and survive in open space. The Vorans, by contrast, are gaseous beings composed of charged particles, able to merge and divide freely. They are effectively immortal. Morrison nodded grimly. He'd read the dossiers, but hearing it aloud made the truth heavier. So conventional death is impossible for them. That's right, sir. They surpassed natural death cycles millions of years ago. Neither side can win, so the conflict just recycles endlessly. They destroy, rebuild, and return to slaughter again. The tactical display shifted, updating with new intel. Hayes highlighted several systems. Captain, reports confirm the Zepyrians have moved their solar destabilizer into orbit around Kepler 442. If activated, the star will go supernova within hours. And the Vorans? Morrison asked. They've positioned a gravitational collapse engine in the Tati system. Scientists say it can forge an artificial black hole capable of consuming entire solar systems. Morrison paced toward the main viewport. Beyond the transparent alloy shimmered the distant inferno of the war zone. Flashes of light betrayed battles involving fleets numbering in the millions. The scale defied comprehension. Why hasn't the Galactic Council stepped in long before now? He demanded. Dr. Turner pulled historical logs onto his screen. They've tried, Captain. Diplomacy, sanctions, military interventions, none of it matters. To the Zepyrians and Vorans, younger species are vermin. They ignore every attempt at communication and annihilate any vessel that nears their armadas. Communications Officer Ryan Cooper spoke up. Sir, I'm intercepting transmissions from both factions. They're not bluffing with the extinction weapons. They plan to fire them simultaneously. Each side would rather wipe out everything than concede defeat. Morrison felt the crushing burden of command. Earth Command had dispatched the Defiance on a peaceful mission of discovery. They had no mandate to interfere in galactic wars, much less ones older than civilization itself. Their orders were clear: avoid entanglement and report any findings. But now 40 million? Humanity stood on the edge of extinction, with 8 billion other innocents fated to perish beside them. The Defiance was the only human vessel in range, perhaps the only ship capable of reaching the colonies before the extinction weapons were fired. How long to evacuate every human colony? Morrison asked. Chief Engineer Ben Clark lifted his eyes from his figures. At current capacity, we can transport maybe 50,000 souls per run. Evacuating everyone would require at least 800 trips. That would take months, Captain. And we have only 48 hours, Morrison muttered. Yes, sir. His gaze swept across the bridge. These were good people, scientists, explorers, emissaries of peace, who had signed on to chart new worlds and meet alien friends. None of them had imagined confronting the oldest, bloodiest conflict in galactic memory. Yet good people often faced choices that tore at the soul. Chief Medical Officer Dr. Kate Miller bent over the alien medical files, broke the silence. Captain, I've studied their biology and their machinery. Both Zepyrians and Vorans rely entirely on their advanced technology to sustain immortality. Their natural forms were once far more fragile. You're suggesting we make them mortal again? Morrison asked. I'm suggesting 800 millennia of dependence may have erased who they once were. Zepyrians began as artists and architects, the Vorans as explorers and philosophers. War has consumed their essence so fully they may not recall any other way of living. Morrison absorbed her words. The idea taking shape was reckless, likely impossible, but it was their only path to save 40 million humans and halt the ruin of 17 star systems. Ryan, can you open a direct channel to both fleet commanders? Sir, protocol strictly forbids contact with hostile alien powers without Earth Command approval, replied Communications Officer Ryan Cooper. Loyal, disciplined, he respected the chain of command. Yet Morrison was asking him to break it. Ryan, Morrison said quietly, in 47 hours, those fleets will unleash weapons that will slaughter every human across 12 systems. Earth Command is 8 months away by fastest courier. We are the only ones who can act. Cooper held his captain's eyes. After a long silence, he nodded. Yes, sir. I'll establish contact at once. Morrison turned to the tactical map. The red markers pulsed like dying stars. In those doomed systems, families went about ordinary lives. Children played in alien courtyards. Scientists cataloged new species. Engineers raised homes on frontier worlds. None of them realized death was racing toward them. And only one human ship now stood where the Galactic Council had failed for centuries. As Ryan Cooper worked to forge communication with the alien fleets, the bridge fell into tense silence, broken only by the hum of systems and soft alerts from consoles. Everyone knew they were crossing a boundary that could never be retraced. Captain, I must remind you this violates every protocol we have, Commander Lisa Hayes said, standing rigid behind her console. Earth Command explicitly ordered all human vessels to avoid the warring powers. Morrison nodded but kept his eyes fixed on the viewport. I know, Lisa. But sometimes obeying orders means condemning innocence. I won't carry that burden. At engineering, Ben Clark's fingers danced across control panels, already working ahead. If we're doing this, Captain, we need every edge possible. The Defiance wasn't designed to face fleets numbering in the millions. What can you give me, Ben? Morrison asked. Our adaptive shields. They're the most advanced tech humanity's ever produced. They evolve with each strike, adjusting defense in real time. After several hits, they're nearly impervious to the same weapon, but... He hesitated. We've never tested them against crystalline energy or Voran plasma clouds. Dr. Kate Miller looked up from her research, brows furrowed. Captain, I've been comparing present energy signatures with historic scans. Something's wrong. Their forms aren't the same as they once were. Morrison finally turned toward her. Explain. 800,000 years ago, Zepyrians displayed a far richer variety of crystalline structures. They were artisans, constructing marvels across their world. Vorans once drifted in smaller, distinct clouds, engaging in philosophical debates and charting the unknown. But now they had become virtually indistinguishable. The Zepyrians had streamlined their crystal bodies solely for war. The Vorans had fused into vast collective masses designed for combat efficiency alone. They had abandoned everything that once made them unique, surrendering individuality in pursuit of becoming perfect weapons. Ryan Cooper turned from his console. Captain, I'm intercepting chatter from both fleets. They're not even encrypting anymore. Their confidence in these extinction weapons is absolute. They're openly discussing activation timetables. Morrison moved closer. What are they saying? The Zephyrians intend to trigger their solar destabilizer in 36 hours, allowing time for their ships to retreat beyond minimum safe distance. The Vorans plan to fire their gravitational collapse engine 30 minutes after the Zephyrians begin their countdown. So they're coordinating mutual destruction, Morrison asked grimly. Looks that way, sir. Neither side believes the other's weapon can truly end them, so they're willing to sacrifice the galaxy itself rather than concede. Dr. Alex Turner, silent until now, rose from his station with a troubled expression. Captain, I think I finally understand why this war never ends. It's not only their immortality, it's that they've forgotten how to think about anything beyond combat. Morrison arched an eyebrow. Explain. I've been studying their comms archives over decades. Their languages have eroded into pure military lexicons. There are no terms left for art, discovery, or philosophy. Their entire thought structure is war. Chief Science Officer Dr. Paul Foster nodded. That fits my findings. Their scientific brilliance is undeniable, but it's all channeled into weapons. No innovation outside conflict. No research for anything else. Morrison felt a wild, reckless idea solidifying. Maybe the reason no one has stopped this war is because everyone keeps treating it as one. Diplomacy, sanctions, fleets, they all assume this is about sides competing for something. Lisa Hayes frowned. Then what do you think it is, sir? It isn't a war anymore, Morrison said, pacing. It's ritual. After 800,000 years, they don't remember what they're fighting over. It's not territory, resources, or survival. It's habit. They fight because it's the only identity they know. Dr. Kate Miller nodded slowly, like an addiction. They need the conflict to give purpose to their existence? Exactly. So conventional solutions won't work. This isn't strategy, it's pathology. Two civilizations locked in collective obsession. Ryan Cooper raised his hand. Sir, I think I can open direct channels to both fleet commanders, but their simplified languages will be difficult. Translation will take time. Morrison shook his head. We don't have that time. We need to jolt them out of this mindset now. Something so unexpected they can't process it as part of their endless cycle. What are you suggesting? Lisa Hayes asked. Morrison stepped back to the command chair but didn't sit. We're going to strike both fleets at once. The bridge froze. Crew exchanged stunned looks. Some gawked at their captain in disbelief. Sir, Ben Clark said carefully, we're one vessel against millions. That's not combat. That's suicide. We're not going to fight them the way they expect, Morrison replied. We'll use humanity's greatest strength against advanced civilizations. His lips curved into the first smile since the transmission. We'll be unpredictable. For 800 millennia, they've fought in the same rigid patterns. They know every tactic, every countermeasure, every strategy the galaxy can produce. But they've never faced humans? Surprise alone won't stop extinction-level weapons, Foster argued. What could we possibly do? Morrison's eyes hardened. We changed the rules. Not by destroying their arms, but by forcing them to question why they feel compelled to use them at all. He turned to address the entire crew. Understand this. What we're about to attempt has likely never been tried. It's insane enough no rational commander would consider it. We're going to try to undo 800,000 years of civilizational madness in less than 48 hours. The crew traded wary glances, yet no one objected. They had chosen deep space exploration to make a difference. Now, impossibly, they were poised to save billions of lives and end the galaxy's longest war. Ben, Morrison ordered, shields to maximum, weapons online. Kate, draft psychological profiles of both species from their pre-war cultures. Alex, I want analysis of current fleet deployments. Ryan, prepare all band transmissions. Lisa, plot a course straight into the center of both fleets. At last, he dropped into his command chair. All right, people, let's go stop a war. The Defiance tore out of faster-than-light transit, materializing in the void directly between the two colossal armadas. On the display, millions of hostile ships flared into existence. The Zephyrian fleet glittered like a storm of radiant diamonds scattered through the stars, while the Vorans loomed as vast dark silhouettes that swallowed light itself. Range to closest vessels, Morrison asked. 50,000 kilometers to Zephyrian scouts, Lisa reported. 70,000 to Voran advance units. Both forces are shifting into attack posture. I don't think they've noticed us yet. Morrison nodded. The Defiance was microscopic beside the leviathans surrounding them. Alien dreadnoughts stretched the size of entire cities, and Zephyrian command ships boasted gravity wells of their own. "Ryan, ready with the transmission?" Cooper gave a final check. "Yes, sir." Music files queued. Broadcast will hit every frequency in use by both sides. Morrison had spent 6 hours crafting the playlist, masterworks from Earth's musical past, designed to bewilder and inspire. Chosen to embody the range of human imagination, it spanned everything from sweeping classical symphonies to modern electronic rhythms, sounds utterly alien to crystalline warriors and gaseous tacticians. "Ben, weapons and shield status?" "All systems nominal, Captain," Clark replied. "Adaptive shields active and ready to learn. Weapons fully charged, targeting computers online. We'll focus on disabling platforms, generators, comm arrays, cripple systems, minimize casualties." "Good. That's what we need." From her station, Dr. Kate Miller stiffened. "Captain, readings confirm both extinction devices are primed. The solar destabilizer is charging, and the collapse engine has begun its sequence." Morrison felt adrenaline spike. Time was shorter than expected. "This is it." "Ryan, begin broadcast. Ben, neutralize nearby weapons. Lisa, feed me formation analysis." The first resonant chords of Beethoven's Ninth thundered across all alien frequencies. The effect was immediate, exactly as Morrison had hoped. Both fleets froze, their maneuvers halting. Confused transmissions lit up the ether. "Sir," Ryan called out, scanning the feeds. "They're asking each other what the strange energy waves are." They didn't recognize music as a method of communication. Excellent. That meant their minds were now occupied with something besides slaughter. "Ben, begin precision strikes on their outer defenses." The Defiance's guns powered up with a low vibration that Morrison could feel through the deck. Their guidance systems, enhanced with human quantum processors, adapted and improved with each shot fired. Unlike the crude, destructive arsenals fielded by both alien fleets, humanity's weapons were crafted for accuracy and control. The opening beams struck within moments. Instead of the massive detonations both alien species anticipated, human fire simply shut systems down with almost surgical neatness. Gun emplacements went offline. Shield cores deactivated without a ripple. Communications hubs powered down without scattering wreckage or killing crews. 12 Zephyrian defense stations and 8 Voran escorts disabled, Lisa reported crisply. "No casualties detected. Sir, both fleets are showing complete bewilderment at our weapon style." Morrison studied the tactical readout, watching the alien armadas scramble to interpret what was happening. Their own doctrines allowed only for total annihilation or useless fire. The idea of carefully neutralizing targets without destroying them was alien to their thinking. "Ryan," Morrison ordered. "Next track." Switching to Mozart's Requiem, the mournful tones filled every frequency as Ben Clark continued his pinpoint strikes. Each discharge revealed capabilities neither fleet had ever witnessed. Their targeting grew sharper with every hit. The systems evolving as they fought. "Captain, the Zephyrian flagship is signaling," Ryan announced. "Patch it through." A crystalline voice emerged, processed through the translator. "Unidentified vessel. State your name and explain your hostile actions against the Zephyrian Collective." Morrison rose. "This is Captain Jake Morrison of the human ship USS Defiance. We are not enemies of either the Zephyrian Collective or the Voron Empire. We are here to prevent the use of extinction-class weapons that will wipe out billions of innocents." A pause followed before the alien answered. "Humans, your kind is unknown. Your methods are unfamiliar. What is it you seek?" "We want you to end this war before nothing remains worth fighting for." A second voice entered, this one like wind through hollow steel. "This is Voran Commander Nexus. Humans are a minor species of the Outer Rim. You hold no right to meddle in our ancient struggle." Morrison smiled faintly. Both leaders were speaking to him instead of unleashing fire. That was more progress than anyone had achieved in countless centuries. "You're right. We're newcomers to your galaxy, but sometimes it takes an outsider to notice solutions invisible to those trapped inside a conflict." "Captain," Ben reported quietly, 30% of both fleets' armaments are disabled. They're adapting, but our systems are learning faster. Keep at it. Prioritize anything tied to their extinction weapons. The Zephyrin commander replied. Your precision weapons are impressive, but pointless. Even if you neutralize our fleet, the solar destabilizer functions on its own. The Voran leader added, so too with our gravitational collapse engine. You cannot prevent what is destined. Morrison had expected such defiance. These species had lived so long obsessed with annihilation they could imagine nothing else. You're mistaken, he said firmly. Ben, target the superweapons directly. Sir, the destabilizer is moon-sized. The collapse engine hides behind quantum barriers even our scanners can't penetrate. I'm not asking you to destroy them. Show them we can shut them down whenever we choose. Clark's hands flew across his console. Human fire lanced out, not to destroy but to disable control nodes. Within seconds, both superweapons powered down together. The comms from both fleets fell into stunned silence. Morrison's voice filled it. For 800,000 years, you've believed this war could only end in total destruction. But there is another path, one you've ignored. What path? Asked the Zephyrin leader. You could simply, stop fighting! The Voran's reply was instant. Impossible. War defines us. Without it, we are nothing. Morrison looked to his crew. Together, they had achieved what the Galactic Council never could. Forcing enemies to pause? To think. That is the problem, he said gently. You've forgotten you were once more than soldiers. You were creators, explorers, philosophers. The war didn't define you. You defined yourselves. Both commanders began to answer, but Morrison cut them off. Let me show you something you've forgotten. On the display, the two fleets hung motionless. For the first time in 8 millennia, neither side fired. The silence stretched until Dr. Paul Foster broke it with a discovery. Captain, he said from the science station, I've been analyzing the energy flows during our engagement. Something very unusual is emerging. Responded to our strikes. What are you saying? When we shut down their systems, both species displayed identical brainwave activity. Not just similar, identical. It's as if centuries of war have synchronized their minds. Dr. Kate Miller looked up from her console, eyes bright. Paul's right, Captain. I'm detecting resonance patterns that suggest both sides are neurologically dependent on conflict. They literally can't think without an enemy present. Morrison felt the larger picture forming. So the war isn't only what they do, it's what they are. Exactly. After so long, combat has become their default mindset. Without it, they suffer like addicts in withdrawal. The Zephyrin commander's crystalline voice cut in. Human Morrison, you've halted our advance and disabled our weapons, but you have not ended the war. When your vessel departs, the fighting resumes. The Voran followed, wind-like tones laced with finality. The conflict is eternal. It existed before you, and it will continue after. Your actions changed nothing. Morrison rose from his chair and stepped toward the great viewing pane. Beyond, millions of alien ships glittered like opposing galaxies locked in endless defiance. Ryan, target a specific coordinate for our next broadcast. There should be an ancient structure at the battlefield center. It commemorates the very first clash of this war. Ryan's sensors confirmed. Located, sir. It's colossal, nearly moon-sized. Both fleets have used it as a navigational marker for millennia. Ben, prepare our terraforming array for that monument. Ben hesitated. Captain, terraforming gear is designed to seed life on barren worlds, not to fire in combat. I know exactly what it's for. How long to transform the monument into a living world if we commit full power? Roughly 10 minutes. But, sir, that structure is sacred. If we alter it, both species may unite against us. Morrison's lips curved. We're not destroying it, Ben. We're remaking it. Lisa turned from tactical, worry etched across her face. Captain, both fleets are shifting formation. If they think we're desecrating their shrine, they'll turn everything on us. That's the idea. Morrison remained standing before his chair. He needed the alien commanders to see. Commanders of Zephyra and Voran, watch closely. I will show you something your species haven't witnessed in 800 millennia. What do you intend, human? The crystalline voice asked. I intend to remind you what creation looks like. Morrison nodded. Ben activated the terraforming emitters. A soft blue radiance streamed from the Defiance, bathing the ancient monument. Instead of destructive fire, a wave of life began reshaping it. Dark stone shifted to living color. Green growth spread like wildfire. Atmospheric generators wrapped the structure in breathable air. "What are you doing to our memorial?" demanded the Voran commander. "Transforming a shrine to war into a cradle of life," Morrison answered. In minutes, the surface was reborn. Trees sprouted from once-armed battlements. Blossoms unfurled where scars of weapons had marred the stone. Clear water trickled through channels once carved to symbolize blood. The two fleets watched in silence as their monument became a radiant world. Living gardens bloomed like paintings across its surface. "Captain," Dr. Alex Turner reported, eyes wide at his readouts, "neural activity in both species is shifting dramatically. They're experiencing emotions lost to them for ages." "What kind of emotions?" Morrison asked. "Wonder. Pure wonder. For the first time in 800,000 years. The Zaphiran leader's voice returned. Crystalline tones altered with something new. "Human Morrison, what you've wrought should be impossible. Beauty cannot exist on a battlefield." "Why not?" Morrison asked simply. The question silenced them. Finally, the Voran replied uncertainly, "Because war and beauty are opposites. They cannot coexist." "Says who?" Morrison countered. He gestured to Ryan. "Show them Earth." Ryan began transmitting. Images of humanity's world filled the channels, cities alive with culture, museums filled with art created even during wartime, gardens flourishing in the shadows of forts. "Impossible," the Zaphiran commander whispered. "How can a species achieve culture while waging war?" Morrison seized the moment. "Because war is what we do, not what we are. We fight when we must, but we create because we choose to." Kate Miller called from her station. "Captain, the fleets are showing breakthrough responses. Neural patterns locked for 800 millennia are beginning to shift." Morrison turned back toward the comms. "Commanders, I have a proposal for you both. Instead of competing to see, why fight over who can destroy the most when you could compete to see who creates the most beautiful world?" The Voran commander answered first. "We are warriors, not artists." "You were not always warriors," Morrison replied softly. "Your history shows the Vorthons once stood as the galaxy's greatest explorers and philosophers. The Zaphirians, too, were famed as master builders, creating crystal cities of breathtaking beauty. That was before the war," said the Zaphirian commander. "The war did not erase your gifts. It only buried them, and what is buried can be uncovered." Morrison turned toward the garden world formed from the ancient monument. It spun slowly in the void, a green and blue jewel shining with hope. "I challenge both your fleets to outdo that garden world, not through its destruction, but by creating something even greater. Let the victor claim this war." Both alien commanders fell silent. Yet Morrison felt a shift. For the first time in millennia, their thoughts turned away from combat. "What purpose would such a challenge serve?" asked the Zapirian commander. Morrison smiled. "To recall what victory meant before it became a synonym for destruction." The challenge lingered in the void, like a promise waiting to be claimed. Morrison watched their fleets on his display. For long minutes, no word was spoken. Only the hums and beeps of the Defiance's systems filled the bridge, tracking the largest military assembly in galactic memory. At last, the Zapirian commander spoke. "Human Morrison, your offer is unlike anything we have faced in 800,000 years of war, but we accept. The Zaphirian collective will prove our crystal-shaping mastery outshines your terraforming arts." The Voran commander quickly followed. "The Voran Empire also accepts. Our gas sculpting will forge patterns of beauty beyond what solid matter can achieve. We will prove our strength through creation, not destruction." Relief swept through Morrison. Both species had agreed to build rather than kill. It was the first step toward ending the longest war in history. "Ben, how long before the extinction weapons auto-reactivate?" Morrison asked. Lieutenant Commander Ben Clark checked his console. "The solar destabilizer reboots in 18 hours. The gravitational collapse engine shares the same fail-safes. Without manual shutdown, they'll deploy automatically." Morrison nodded grimly. Less than a day to reshape two civilizations hardened by nearly 1 million years of bloodshed. Impossible, perhaps, but hadn't they already achieved